welcome back to another episode of Catch This Now. This podcast is all about providing engaging topics that will educate you so you are enlightened with the tools and techniques that you can use to do the work on your journey to being the best version of yourself. I am your host, Tiffany Hodge, LMSW, and founder of Tiffany Empowers. And my hope is that you catch all of this now so you won't get caught up with it later. Let's do the work. Hey everybody, I'm so excited that you have decided to join me one more time for another week of celebrating Social Work Month with my colleagues, and I'm so excited to be here and to introduce to my audience one of my friends. I must say, her and I went all the way through grad school together, and I must say that you can't get through grad school alone. You must surround yourself with good people. And this person that I'm going to talk to today is truly a good friend of mine. She is an amazing person, an awesome social worker, and I'm excited that she's gonna grace us with her knowledge and what she wants us to know as it relates to breaking barriers as a social worker. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into it. This is my friend. I'm talking to a friend today. A lot of times on my podcast, I do talk to friends. So, so it's not like I'm talking to somebody that I don't know, but uh, I feel it very important that the community hear from the community. And so here it is. Her name is Mary Smith-Tyler. She is a licensed clinical social worker with a master's degree in clinical social work from the University of South Carolina. Go Gamecocks. She is also an Army veteran who has served in the U.S. military or Army. Let me be specific. Let me give her branch, the U.S. Army. She enjoys working with adolescents, adults, and families using evidence-based practice and person-centered treatment modalities. She has also worked with diverse populations with an array of mental health symptoms, including PTSD or post-traumatic stress syndrome. Um, yeah, I'm going to say syndrome, post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD, right? Anxiety, depression, mood disorder, and schizophrenia. She uses a strength based and collaborative approach. She has experience using modalities including psychoanalytic, psychodynamic, CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy, family systems therapy, strength based approaches. Mary is passionate about providing quality service to individuals and families in her community. Her personal interests include loving on her family, her husband of 34 and a half years. Somebody needs to give them a hand clap for 34 and a half years. Her two children, and her biggest heartbeat, her grandson. She loves to laugh and loves being with her family. So, without further ado, right after this, I'm going to introduce, and you're going to jump straight into our conversation with Mrs. Mary Smith-Tyler LCSW, another social worker that is breaking barriers.
Hey, Mary.
Hey, Tiffany.
How are you, love?
I'm super. I'm great as always, or at least I try to be great as always.
That's good. Happy Social Work Month to you.
Right. Happy Social Work Month to you. You know, we started this journey together in 2011.
It was 2011.
Oh,
online.
It's like I feel like you're my personal, social work buddy. Because we used to give it to them. So, yeah. Happy Social Work Month to us. Breaking barriers. That's what we do. So,
That's what we do.
yes.
That is what we do. I'm so excited to have you here, and because I think you are like so wise. I think people need to hear from you. You have so much to offer and so much to give, and what better way to do it than have you here? So during this month, you and I, like you stated, man, 2011 online. USC. Oh God.
I think you were cooking spaghetti, Tiffany.
Spaghetti.
I really think I asked you what you were doing during the class, and you was like, I'm cooking spaghetti. So then we started depending on each other. Are you listening to the class? Yeah, I'm listening. Okay, I'm going to cook spaghetti. So
I tell people you cannot make it through grad school alone.
no, you
It
got to
is
have
a team effort.
really, truly it is. Truly it
And I
is.
appreciate you being my teammate during that
Yes.
entire process, especially when it got a little difficult for me and wanting to quit, moving
I
that
wasn't in it.
schedule around.
I wasn't in it, but I was, like, come on, Tiff. But I'm glad that I was there for you, and I kind of went through it first, so that was encouraging. But I realized, being a mommy is very important as well. So I was happy that I could go before you, because then I could tell you what you really needed.
Mm-hmm. And you did. You kept me on point, and I'm truly grateful
I
and
knew that
honored.
this was the arena you needed to be in. That's what I knew. So yes.
Yes. Well, most people don't know you, but I do, and I want them to get to know you and on the way that I know you as far as a social worker and personally. And for those of you that don't know, this is my good friend, Mary Smith-Tyler. She is a licensed clinical social worker. She is my friend, hailing all the way from DC.
Go Commanders. I know they're not the best team, but they the home team, and I'm always gonna root for the home team.
Come on. Now, Commanders represent, right? Commanders. Like, who came up with that name?
Someone who did not ask me. That's the problem. I would have liked them to give me a vote in that name. So,
because I was like, the Commanders. Moving on.
We digress.
We're going to digress on that, and we're going to get into what we do best and what we know. And I like that the theme was breaking barriers for Social Work Month. I thought that was a pretty strong theme. I didn't get a vote in on it, but whoever did, I think this one is pretty strong. And you are one that I believe personally is setting that tone to always have been breaking barriers in our profession, and especially working with the population that you work with. So can you, Will, if you would, because I know you, but the audience doesn't, if you would tell us a little bit about your practice and tell us what a social worker means to you.
Well, first I'm going to go back because I like that breaking barriers. For some reason, I feel like that is so fitting for me because I am the youngest of 9 children. Well, I'm the youngest girl. I'm the baby girl. And I had a little brother, but he never treated me like he was the little brother. So I always say I was the youngest of 9. Didn't grow up with the silver spoon in my mouth. By 16, both of my parents had passed away. But I'm grateful to God for an older sister that stepped in. And you talk about breaking barriers. All of my sisters were teen moms. And my sister told me I would not be a teenage mom. I would be a high school graduate. And it was so funny. One of her threats was, if you get pregnant, you will be at one desk and your baby will be at another. So that was my first breaking barrier moment because I was terrified. I thought I was just too cute, Tiffany, to be sitting at a desk and have somebody baby sitting beside me. So even if it was my own, I'd have probably left that baby in the class. But so that is my serious moment. I broke that mold of my family being teenage mothers. And for some reason, that is my passion. Working with teenage moms is something that God has given me an assignment, and that is a part of it. I think the proudest moment in my life may have been graduating as an undergrad, because again, none of my sisters had done it. And I was the first girl in my family to graduate both high school and college. And the best part about that moment was having my oldest sister come and witness me graduating. Now, my oldest sister has an oldest daughter. Her name is LaRonda Goff, and she started an online therapy group that I work for called Talking Helps. That's Talking, TALKIN, Helps, HELPS.com. And if anyone is interested or seeking therapy, they can always, look me up on there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I thought about your question about social work, I began to ponder that how everybody, when you hear the word social work, the first thing you think of is we coming for your children.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that bad light has come from, but I always tell people, I don't want your children. I'm not a child snatcher. What I want to do is give you the tools you need to better your family, to keep your family together. Now, if children have to be removed from the home, that's one thing, but that's not what we as social workers do. We want to give you the resources. We want to empower you, educate, and advocate for all people, regardless of, their social economic status or the color of their skin. Social workers are hardworking. We're educated. We're professional. I like that this field encompasses both men and women, and we have and follow a professional code of ethics. The first social worker I encountered, I didn't know she was a social worker. Growing up in DC with 9 children, we were poor. So when I went to school, there was this lady, like every so many months would come, and she would take me and my brother and go around to other schools, and she would take us to get shoes and clothes and coats. Now, I thought we just was a select group of kids. We were privileged. But when I got older, I realized, no, sister girl, you was poor. Mm-hmm. And that lady was making sure you had clothes and a coat on your back. But I just thought she was a nice lady. And that was my first social work encounter. And I knew then that is what I wanted to do. I wanted to give back to people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we'll give that information out in the description for anybody that wants to reach out to Mary and Miss Goff for any other further services. And this is telehealth, right?
Yes.
Yep, that's awesome. And I'm glad that you all are family that is extending this and working together. I think that's beautiful that you all can collaborate and understand how we can impact a community together. It's good to see a family business, yes, especially as it relates to therapy, because it's not something that people think, you do. You think you pass on the welding and you may pass on a law firm, but, having family members that do what we do, it gives you that bounce off too, and how to navigate in those spaces. Sometimes that can be difficult for us, and having more resources in one household, if you will, or one community, yes, if you will, is also important. You talked about breaking barriers with your sisters, and I didn't know that. So that's news to me. And so I'm like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
I wasn't privy to that info. but I appreciate you sharing it, because now when I hear you say it, I understand why you are so passionate about working with teenage mothers and where that comes from. So I appreciate you being candid and open about that part of your life. Are you doing anything right now working with any teen moms, or do you have any ideas that you are willing to share with us? Any ideas that you're thinking about in future tense as it relates to working with them?
Yeah, yes. So what and I've shared this with you, I know. God gave me a vision. Let me go back. First of all, in my home, I have seen so many teenage moms come through here that are not my biological children. But there were young girls, single moms that I have just helped, and they've lived in my house for months. And I just wanted to make sure they could, have a foundation and be a role model to them. And so, I feel like that I have that to give, that I understand a single mom, even though I'm not one and have never been one, but I understand their plight. And watching my own sisters, I know how hard it is to be a single mom. Now, my sister did eventually get married. My oldest sister did eventually get married, and to a great man who, helped her. But my other sisters, they tended to have a struggle, but they are all doing well today, even as single parents. Mm-hmm. And I want to impart that wisdom on young girls that this is just a stepping stone. It's not your final destination. Mm-hmm. And when you have a support system, that support system becomes very valuable to you. And so what I see, what God has given me is these young girls getting together to rely on each other. You don't have a babysitter and you need to go to work. There's a teen mom that, maybe she goes to work in the morning and you go to work at night, and you switch off taking care of each other's children. Mm-hmm. Implementing play dates so they can get to know each other and build that trust and bond. And in the midnight hour, when they can't reach me, they can reach out to each other. Mm-hmm. I know where I want to go with it. I've sought God on it. And so it's just a matter of me finding a location and being able to implement it. And I talked to someone who's given me a availability to use a location. And so that is where I'm moving towards. But yes, that's definitely my thing, to help build up our young women so that they don't feel like society has thrown them apart to the side because they have children, because mm-hmm. that's not true.
Mm-hmm. I like that you're giving them the space to learn how to trust each other and to really get back to the basics of community.
Exactly.
Because that's what community was. I gotta go to work. Can you watch? Yeah, I need to run over here. Can you? Yes.
Exactly.
So I'm excited when you actually put this thing out. I'm gonna be in the front row.
Yeah, you got to be one of the speakers I invite out to tell your story as well. So, and that's what I want. I want them to see single moms who made it.
Yes, teen moms, right?
Yes, who made it, who, I was there in the same situation and I
was
made it out. And so, yes.
I was supposed to be a statistic, right?
That's it. That's it right
there. I am. I was 15. A lot of people don't know this, but I was 15 when I had my first daughter. Mm-hmm. And I was 17 when I had my second daughter.
And now you're a social worker.
And now I'm a social worker.
On your way to being a licensed clinical social worker. And young 15 and 16-year-old girls need to hear that story.
Yes.
Because they had so many people in their ear telling them what they can't do and what they can't be. Mm-hmm. So I'm here to tell them what they can do and what they can be. Yeah.
And I appreciate you wanting to give other women that have walked through it a space to share that story.
Yes.
And that is true social work to me. That's bridging that gap.
Yes. And breaking barriers at the same time.
And breaking barriers, because I don't want to work with teen moms. I'm just being honest. And people think because you were this, you would want to work with that. But I don't work with children, and I have 6 of them. That's not my desire.
And I worked with children for 20 years. And so, yeah. Yes.
So we do a lot of coping.
Yes.
We teach a lot of coping.
That's what we do.
And people, gosh. So I want to know, what do you do to cope with your day? What does that look like? What are your coping skills that you use to get through work, life, the commanders, all of that?
No, you're not going to keep talking about them commanders.
Okay, I'm sorry. I won't do it.
We're going to let y'all slide in Georgia. So I like to laugh. Mm-hmm. And so even at the most serious moment, I have got to find me a joke somewhere in there. So many people say I missed my call and I was supposed to be a comedian. But that's my coping mechanism. I've cried so much that all I know how to do now is laugh. Mm. Like I said, by 16, I had no parents. By 18, I had no grandparents. Mm-hmm. So I've done my share of crying. I've lost 3 brothers. And so I'm just going to laugh. But when I cannot get through that, I'm going to phone a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my nieces and my sister, we do a lot of talking. And so when I really, really just cannot break through an emotion or something that's really, really weighing me down, I call on them. I call on my daughter. I call you. I vent. And it's a safe space that I feel that I my circle of girlfriends is a safe space for me to vent. And I know that when I hang up, what I've said, number one, stays between us. But number two, they've given me tools to help me go on next. And normally like I said, I'm hanging up, I'm laughing. So that's normally how I cope.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I think that, I like for people to hear how we do it, because I think people think we do this grandiose, magical thing, and we don't.
If there's a wand, they didn't give it to me in grad school, so
they didn't give me one either. So they gave me a healthy bill, but no wand, no wand.
Right.
And so people do assume that we have it all together. And that's why I asked what the coping skill looked like for you. And it's because, it's really, really not true that we do that. But share with us one thing that you do on a daily basis. Like, just what's your work life look like?
Stressful. Stressful. Oh yeah, very, very stressful. I am super busy because I want to leave generational wealth. I want my son's son to have to work less, and so in order for him to work less, I have to work harder. I want to leave something besides debt. So yes, I have a stressful, packed life, but I have to do a lot of self-talk. I have to walk myself backwards and find out what I need to do and how I need to do it. I'm not perfect, but I do serve a perfect God. And so making mistakes is okay. And I have to tell myself a lot of times, you didn't get it right today. You have tomorrow. You can get it right today. And I have this joke that I tell people. I have never since I was 19, since my first job, no one has ever broken in to where I work and did my job. They've never taken a paper and say, let me break in and take this off of her plate. So everything is always there the next day.
Yeah, that's good.
So if I leave it, if I have to back off of it, I can promise you it's still going to be there waiting on me tomorrow. And tomorrow I'll probably be in a better mindset. So I self-talk myself. I'm big at it. And if you can do it, do it. It's a lot of times like I have to say, this too will pass. You'll be okay. Let them handle it. They can handle it. Case in point, this morning my grandson I'm hungry at 11 o'clock. Well, I have something to do at 11 o'clock. I probably could have fed him, fixed him some food, but his father can do it. And that's taking some stress off me. So, yes.
Yeah. Delegation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lord, we need that word.
Can you get somebody else to do it?
Hey, I need some help.
Help. We're screaming for help, because sometimes resources are limited. But again, I think we, especially as women, we are just geared at getting it done. And so we're like, move, I'll do it. And then it's like, yeah, we're just trained to do it that way. But at the end of it, we're burnt out.
And everybody else, I like to say, is gone on their happy way. They're not thinking, I'll wait until she's done or whatever. No, their life is going on. And here you are stressed because you just come into a situation where 50 things need to be done. One thing we also need to focus on as women is prioritizing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is not important. We may make it seem like it is, but it's not. It's okay if something falls by my wayside and you, Tiffany, catch it and be like, oh, Mary, okay, I got that. Well, Tiffany, you handle that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And so to relinquish that control that we feel like we must have.
Yes.
24 hours a day.
Yes.
All day, 7 days a week, 365
And I'll
days.
tell you, I have been married almost 35 years. This year will be 35 years. And I even had to relinquish with him. Like, I have to step back sometimes and be like, when he says he got it, and I'm like, well, I'll do it. Let that man be that man.
Mm-hmm.
Step back.
Step back.
Yes.
That's good. That's good wisdom. 35 years in holy matrimony.
And life for me ain't been no crystal stairs, baby.
None of us. Hey, let me say this. None of whom I've spoken to has it been. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's funny that you say that because like we will try to get the children to fold towels. And it's like, who folded these? The grizzly bear? Like, and I have to learn, to your point. Listen, the task has been completed, regardless of if it's perfect or to your liking.
Right.
It is done. Now, you can go back and reteach how to fold it a little neatly, but to this point,
and guess what? When they go to get the towel, let them get that unfolded towel. They folded it. Let them get it. They want to use it. Hey, go ahead.
And when they knock them all down because they didn't put them neatly, they have to pick them up. And to your point, because then they will learn, you know what? I might need to fold this a little better so I won't have to keep picking up all these towels. I mean, it drives me insane.
Now, I will tell you, I have 2 children, and my son used to, I don't even know if he used to fold the shirts or whatever he was doing, but I think he was doing it so I could take over because I used to say things to him. And so then one time I didn't say anything. I don't care if your shirts aren't folded, and when you take them off, you got to iron them, put them up. That's on you. Mm-hmm. So when he had to start ironing, he learned to start folding.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
Yeah, he didn't like ironing at all. And so I was like, well, if you hang it up or if you fold it correctly, you don't have to iron it. So
I might have to write that one down. Are you going to do parenting classes too?
I am not. I may bring some diapers and wipes classes, but I'm not doing them.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Out of the game.
If you had any words of wisdom that you would want people to catch now and not later, what would that be?
Ooh. It's never too late to start. That is, when I was in school, there was an 80-year-old lady in school with me. And she told the story of how she had 3 children. 2 were doctors and 1 was a lawyer. And that for her 80th birthday, they asked her, what did she want? And she told them that she had paid and put each one of them through school with no debt when they graduated. And that the only thing she wanted was to go and get her a degree. That touched my heart, and it made me realize it doesn't matter where you begin. Mm-hmm. You can always start over. So it's never too late to start. If you're 54, 55, or 65 or 75, and you're looking to do something different, start it. Just go ahead and do it. You never know where it will take you. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to just start over. So if I had to give somebody something to catch now, it's never too late to start.
It's never too late to start.
I graduated college with my daughter graduating high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, exactly.
That's awesome. That's awesome wisdom.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. It's never too late to start. 80 years old? She was 80?
She was 80. And I just thought she was somebody that just used to sit outside the school till she ended up in a math class with me. And she told her, I called it her testimony.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, the last thing I want to do before they throw dirt on me is graduate.
Mm-hmm.
And she graduated
Mm-hmm.
with an undergrad in psychology.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know
That's
if she ever went on to get her master's, but I was there for the graduation. So
that is awesome.
yeah.
That is awesome.
And
Go ahead.
we're afraid to kind of start something new. Oh, you're too old, you're too this, you're too that, you got this. Man, go ahead. Start it. Beat the odds.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only one that can write your story.
Yep. Because you hold the book.
Yeah.
With the blank paper.
And the pen.
And the pen. And you could choose to hold it or give it to somebody else to write it. Nah. I'm going to write my own.
Yes.
I want to ask you one thing before we wrap this up. You talk about your faith. You talked about God. Mm-hmm. And I like, in the last few episodes that I've done with other social workers, faith and God has been a running theme in it. They've all brought it up, and so have you. And I don't want to just kind of skate past that. And I know, this one might be off the cuff, but can you talk about how your faith guides you in your practice as a social worker?
I think that social work is a compassionate profession. And if you don't have compassion for what you're doing, how you're doing it, then you can't really do this profession. Mm-hmm. But with that, compassion has to be a relationship of a higher power for you to rely on. Mm-hmm. Because when I'm burnt out and I'm drained out, I can turn to God. I can always take it to God. And so I use my faith. And there are some people that I talk to, and while they are talking and I'm listening, I'm secretively praying in my heart, God, do it. God, give me the heart to receive what they're saying. God, give me the wisdom and the understanding. If I did not have that relationship with God, I promise you, Tiffany, this would not be the profession for me. Because we hear so much and we take that stuff in, and we have to know what to turn over to God and what to relinquish to the streets, basically. And so there's a lot of times when we are so passionate about something that does not have anything to do with us. And we have to be able to say, you know what, God, that's not mine. And I don't want all those spirits and things that I encounter on me. Mm-hmm. So when I come into work, I'm like, God, give me what to say, how to say, and where to speak at. Because I have to have a relationship with him to have any relationship with anybody else. Mm-hmm. So that is, that's a key part of, to me, social work is the compassion, the love, the understanding, and all of that. That's nothing to do with Mary. I can't do it. All of that and all that I am is because of the God I serve. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're going to leave it at that. We thank you for your time and your attention. Happy Social Work Month. You are truly breaking barriers. I love you.
I love you, girl. You know I love you. And my kids that are allowed to stay outside and play out. I'm loving that too. Kids that go outside and play.
They're out there now. I told them to go outside.
I love it.
I'm going to stop the recording now.
I hope you all truly enjoyed my conversation with Miss Mary Smith-Tyler. Man, we had such an amazing time. I hope you have heard something that has sparked you or given you some insight. If you are looking to work with her, please make sure you visit the website at Talkin, TALKIN helps, HELPS.com. Again, these are social workers breaking barriers, and I'm super excited to highlight another social worker with us next week. As we wrap up Social Work Month, we're going to talk with Mrs. Shantoya Chapman. She is a MSW at LCSW, and she is truly breaking barriers here. So make sure you tune in next week because you do not want to miss my conversation with her. Make sure you have turned on your notifications and you have subscribed. I would love to connect with you outside of this podcast, so make sure you join my monthly newsletter to stay in the loop about any upcoming virtual events, savings, and other fun stuff by visiting my website, tiffanyempowers.me. You can find me on all social media as well by searching my name. That's simply Tiffany Empowers. Until next week, stay engaged, continue to educate yourself, and embrace the enlightenment as it comes.